Hi everyone, it's Moonlight Mason, and I am losing subscribers from making these commentary videos on Shane Dawson's series on Jake Paul, and it's okay. I'm gonna finish. I'm not the kind of person that starts something and because a few people don't like a few of my videos and unsubscribe, I'm going to stop doing what I'm doing. So I will finish my commentary all the way up to his Shane's last video and beyond if necessary. So these are my thoughts on Shane Dawson's last video, The World of Jake Paul. The biggest lesson here is that all of us, every single one of us, no matter what your actions are, okay, no matter if you see homeless people on the street walking around naked or the crazy stuff that we see online, on video, this guy with the mice trap on his D-I-C-K and on his tongue, and you know what I mean? That's just crazy. All these people have a background. They all came from somewhere, and somehow or another, if you show their background and you understand how they were raised, what their parents were like, what their environment was like, if you really get into it, it will touch a part of your heart. That's what happens, is it touches a part of your heart where you go, oh, I understand now because something like that happened to me. And maybe things happen to you, but you process them differently, and then you had different outcomes. Like they were saying, you take all that energy, all that hurt and all that pain and all that, and you put it into being a doctor. You put it into being a vet. You put it into being a criminal. You understand? So all of us have things that happen to us, right? And it's called energy, and a lot of these negative energies, these core initiations, get stuck in different parts of your body. So when you go get a massage, sometimes when someone touches a part of your body, it releases a memory. And it could be like a negative or hurtful, painful memory that we all have. And some people, these memories and this pain and this hurt is big, it's huge, it's too much. So you have all these thoughts and feelings, and you have to express them. And some people express them by starting fires. You see what I mean? In their lives and in the lives of others, and being dramatic. And so what happens is when you go back and study prior history, it touches a part of your heart that softens you to that person, and you go, oh, and that's what happened to me when I saw the interview with Richard Ramirez, the serial killer who killed innocent people horrifically, and when he said, it's not all bad, it made my heart go, oh, okay. So he did have a little sympathy for these people, but the negative part of his thoughts, the negative part of his brain, the negative part of him processing everything was so big that it took over. And that is when you have a psychopath. That's when you have a sociopath. When you're not able to, I don't want to say control, because they can control themselves, but you're not able to choose the good instead of the bad. And maybe this series will wake up Jake to a point where Jake can say, you know what? I'm going to choose better. I'm going to choose to be a better influence on my audience. That is what I'm hoping for. And for you guys who've been critical of Shane, trying to humanize him, it doesn't mean that you're going to watch his videos if you didn't watch them before. Everything's going to be the same. It's just in your heart, perhaps you'll recognize others that surround us, our parents, our brothers and sisters, maybe some friends of yours, or even in society, others that surround us with drama and hate, and you can just say a little bit, I understand a little bit more. And what it does is it removes the hate from you. You see, you're the one who has the negativity and all the hate that you put onto a person. You know, I don't like this person, I hate this person, they did this, they did that. It just removes that part of you. It doesn't mean that you condone their behavior. You know, it doesn't mean that you like them better, or that you yay, that you give them props for their bad behavior. No, you know the difference. And perhaps videos like these that Shane is making will make Jake Paul, Logan Paul, serial killers, I don't know, not that I'm saying they're the same, but and everyone else in between, including you and I, when we have thoughts and make our actions positive or negative, it'll just bring more insight into it and more compassion. And we talk about Kati Morton, who is a marriage and family counselor, therapist, specializing. I really want to talk about this. I haven't seen it talked about anywhere else, but she is specializing in eating disorders and food addictions. And self-harm, which is eating disorder. Self-harm is an eating disorder. So Kati said that's what she specializes in. When she said that, lots of bells, not one bell, but lots of bells went off in my head. Even though I know she's a YouTuber, I don't understand what why Shane didn't choose a qualified specialist in psychopathy, sociopathy behaviors, someone who actually treats those types of symptoms and people who suffer from that. This would have been a whole different video if Shane would have chosen a therapist who actually specializes in sociopathic behaviors instead of choosing someone who specializes in self-harm, where she actually has to get a book, which I think it's great that she got the book and that she said she did a lot of research in it, but this is what it is Kati is learning along with us. She's learning along with us. The questions that Kati requested that Shane asked are easily found on the internet if you look really into, sociopathic behaviors, symptoms of a sociopath. What should you ask a sociopath? It's right there on the internet. So I could have done it. I could have easily done Kati Morton's role in this without actually having the credentials of being a therapist in self-harm. Again, I don't know why Shane did this, but this is a very interesting point that Kati Morton is the one that he chose when he could have easily chosen a professional. Now, I believe that this Kati Morton, Philip DeFranco, maybe Jake, all of this has to do with somehow or another the highly infamous BetterHelp. Now, as you noticed, BetterHelp has had a lot of controversy lately, and Shane has very smart. Shane has been very smart to delete endorsing them in his videos. He did at first, and then when all this controversial stuff came up on BetterHelp, a lot of people are investigating them as a scam. I've watched a lot of the videos. I am not convinced that they are a scam, because a lot of the stuff that people are saying to me are very easily explained. I just need to know more, I guess. I'm not saying BetterHelp is not a scam. I'm just giving you my opinion from what I've seen so far. And so many people that are not paid on their site to give them endorsements have come out and said that it has helped them, and they're not a part of, I believe, that the testimonials on BetterHelp there's something wrong with them. They're not legit. That I believe. That doesn't make the whole company a scam. I believe that Kati is going to come on at the end and say he is not a sociopath. He is just someone that you can actually rationalize his behavior based on the environment that he grew up on, the environment that he grew up in, where, there's not too much to do, and these are the pranks that you do around those places where there's just not enough to do for teenagers, and so they shoot potato guns. That's what they used to do, shoot potato guns, or, go out in the river and skip rocks or do pranks, because they need to come up with something that's exciting in their life. And one thing led to another, and I was very surprised that Jake Paul was only 21 years old for everything that he has acquired. He also seemed to have his head on his shoulders when he said that, he didn't used to save money, but now he is saving his money. And it was also surprising how when Shane had interviewed Nick Crompton said, you probably get the most from Shane being alone, not having too many people in the room. And not only do we have Kati there pretending she's a producer, which, by the way, is really hard for me to believe, doesn't know that she's the therapist. I really do find it hard to believe. I think that, this again is a show, so I think behind behind the third wall, he knows that she is the therapist. But especially when they were having a conversation and she was gently asking Shane gently telling Shane what to ask Jake when Jake was right there in the room. So you see Jake looking at her, and it's interesting that she says something to Shane, and then Shane asks Jake, and then Jake answers it with really no hesitancy, no question, like why is she asking, or something like that. Or maybe they're playing it off, well, this is the producer, and the producer may have some questions too. I'm not really sure. I also do not like, and I know he's done this before, but okay, first of all, it goes along with the deceitfulness, not only to us, the viewer, that Kati is a producer in Jake's eyes. I just shared with you, I don't believe that he thinks that she's a producer. I believe that he believes that she's a therapist, number one. Number two, taking her into the restroom and the camera's following. At one point, Jake goes, what, are all of you going to the restroom? And then Shane doing the little cahoots with her behind the scenes, like, what do you think is going on? This and that. And I just think that some of that is a little disrespectful to Jake, especially in his home. I wouldn't quite do it that way, like doing that sneaking part. I don't like it because I'm all about informed consent. So if Shane would have said to Jake, you know what, can I just have a few minutes with my producer? And then he could have done the same thing, but do it that way instead of making it out like you're sneaking away to ask, some secret questions or something like that. This isn't a big criticism. This is just you getting my thoughts on being informed and just being authentic with everyone. Nothing against Shane. I'm just giving you my thoughts. I believe that every single person can be humanized, and I believe in the grand picture, in the general sense, what Shane Dawson is doing is absolutely bigger than what he thinks he's doing. I made mention of this in my prior video. See, Shane may be thinking that he's just bringing light to Jake Paul and how and who Jake Paul is as a person, which is true. But the truth is, every single human being that is born has a history, has had parents and an environment that has contributed to who they are. And when we see, now I'm not comparing Jake to any of these things. As a matter of fact, I'm taking it to the end of the spectrum. Jake Paul is a danger to himself. He is a danger to others, obviously. He's never gotten hurt by the grace of God, thank God. But if you see what he's done, then you can tell that he is a danger to himself and danger to others. That does not make him a serial killer or someone that can actually, break into your home in the middle of the night and kill you. That's not who Jake Paul is. But for those who have done that, the serial killers that have been out there, okay, which I seem to have some sort of an obsession with, and I love watching their videos. I shared this once before in another video, but it was Richard Ramirez, I believe. Yes, it was Richard Ramirez, who was a serial killer, one of the worst kinds ever here in LA. You can look him up. He did, and you can look up like one of his last interviews. He did an interview when they asked him, and they said, why do you think you're so evil? Like, what made you so evil? And he said, I'm not all evil. So that tells you that there's a little bit of knowing inside of a serial killer. They know the right and wrong. They know that they do have a heart and they do feel. The problem is that the other voices, the negative part, which we talked about so much in some of my videos on Sociopaths and learning lessons, is bigger. That voice is so grand. It's a disorder, right? That it takes over logical sense and makes you do things like go on a killing spree or, go out and shoot a bunch of people. But what happens is when an event like that happens, of course, we're going to feel so bad for the victims, and we're going to feel hatred, and because we don't understand what would cause a person to do this. And what Shane is actually doing, he's saying, look, you guys, all of us humans have a bit of love, a bit of kindness, a bit of good inside them. And this is what's happening with Jake Paul. Jake Paul has, they've said, I don't want to see it, I don't want to know about it, but they've said that he's tortured animals before or something horrible with animals, which I can't get into in any sense of the word. But then you see in this video, I saw him with I think he said it was Anthony's dog. There were a couple of dogs there, and you see how he pets the dog or how nice he is to the dogs. And so you would think that with this video, it shows that inside Jake's home, he's a different person. You see the kindness that he has with his girlfriend, Erica, and how close they are together. And I believe he has her there close to him during this whole video for support. You do see a lot of Jake being just like you and I and being human. So I absolutely loved this grander view that everyone can be humanized. I don't think that more people are going to watch Jake Paul because of this. I believe that his fans are going to keep watching, and those that didn't watch, like myself, I'm not going to watch his videos after this because it's just not my thing to watch, But for those people that are, at least they know now that it's all fake. That's a great thing. That's a wonderful thing to know that he hires actors and a lot of these stunts are fake, because it lets younger people know, his demographics, which we talked before, between 9 and 16, it lets them know that it's not real. Some of these minds, even at 9 years old, you don't know the environment, you don't know their parents, you don't know if they're being raised with any love or any logical common sense, which is missing from a lot of families these days. It's just logical common sense, and you don't know these children, how they're being raised. A lot of them like to mimic what they see, and that's been obvious by a lot of these children who have gone into schools with guns. They were mimicking something that they saw in a video game. They have made that clear, and maybe in their mind, you know, they have lost that sense of, oh, it hurts them too. See what I mean? And sometimes they don't even care. This, I'll die for this, and they die too. So they get to a point where they have lost all sense of reality, and they're young, and they have no one to tell them any different. Except for me, I'm here. I'm trying to explain it to everyone and trying to help you guys know the difference. Now, this is another thing, when Jake showed the Legos in his wall, which is so cool, right? So that when little kids come, they think his whole house is built of Legos. And he even has like one cut out when he's in like a dollhouse, you know, and that is just really creative and really cool. But that lets you know that he knows. Jake knows how old his viewers are. This will be like the third time that he's admitted to knowing his demographics. So maybe by doing this series, by another wonderful thing from this series that Shane has done, maybe Jake will get it. Oh, okay, you know, because Jake himself is a victim of his past upbringing, of his circumstances. He's only 21 years old. So maybe he doesn't know, oh, I really do have, I can have a real positive influence and still be a huge success to these young minds, right? By maybe just toning it down a little bit. And then in the same video, they showed the prank with the, the rat, that mice trap and all this, and this guy doing it on his penis and on his tongue. And you know what? If a child wants to mimic that, let them go ahead and get hurt. I mean, what can you do? You can't really do much about it. Maybe this will teach children to teach them some thinking skills and think. But this person who did that prank, it's just, I don't know. It's just showing how brave you are, how courage you are by being absolutely stupid. It's stupid. That's a stupid thing to do. Okay. Now I'm going to share with you, before you get on me for calling whoever did it, the guy at Jake's house, this prank, stupid. I'll share with you a stupid thing that I did when I was 16. Okay. Because when I was 16, my mind actually was probably like a 13-year-old or a 12-year-old. So it was really back. I didn't know very much. And I'm sharing this part of me with you so that you can see where Jake might be coming from. This guy doing this with the mice trap is definitely coming from a place where he doesn't know any better. Okay. So one of the things that I did that was really like stupid, right, is I used to hang out with a group of mostly boys, because I've always hung out with boys. I think I've said this before. I love hanging out with men. Even now, like my friends, I gotta have men. To me, it's better than having girlfriends. I like men friends. I just love men friends, but because I love that testosterone and being around that. And anyways, so what I did when I was 16 is, you know those Twinkies? They still sell them today, Twinkies. I was with a bunch of people and we got Twinkies and we smashed the Twinkies. Like, I don't know, maybe like 10 of them. We went to the store, to 7-Eleven, and bought Twinkies and smashed Twinkies all over a phone booth. That was stupid. That is a very stupid, illogical thing to do. And then we walked away. So that's gross. Someone had to go and clean it. I didn't think about someone cleaning it. I didn't think that maybe someone could have had an emergency and needed to use the phone, and it's all smashed with Twinkies. I'm Moonlight Mason, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye.